And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Fighting Fit Show. Today we are joined by Jono Carroll. Welcome, Jono.
Thank you for having me, pal. I appreciate
listen,
it.
to anyone who doesn't know Jono, so Jono is a pro boxer. Jono started in Finglas, Dublin. He moved off to Australia, kicked off his pro career there. Came back to Ireland, started working under Paddy Collins in Celtic Warrior Gym. He went on, he was involved in the Irish Fight of the Year in 2014 against Declan Gaggery. He then went on to win the prize fighter, I think as a 14-1 underdog, with some super performances along the way. He then challenged Tevin Farmer for the world title in an amazing fight in Paddy's weekend. And most recently has just defeated Scott Quigg with, I would say, probably the best performance of your career.
Yeah, most definitely, pal.
Yeah.
100%. It would be, and it was a big test, you know, because he's a former world champion and stuff like that. It was one of them people, two dogs killing each other next door. It was one of them people where really, everyone was like, oh, it's a 50-50 fight. It's going to be a hard fight for him, blah, blah, blah. And like, the whole time I was thinking, you think this is going to be a hard fight for me. Like, I'm not planning on having no hard fight. I've worked hard in the gym, you know what I mean? Day in, day out. So I ain't really planning on having a hard fight. I'm fucking planning on going in here and skilling this fella, and that's exactly what I've done. So,
yeah, no, big time, man.
Thank God I was able to put the plan in place, you know what I mean? Because we went over the plan over and over again. Like, it was a blatant nightmare. Like, we had a specific game plan, and we knew, right, this is what we need to do. So every day we were in the gym, it was just draining, almost doing the same thing over and over and over again. But at the same time, when it happened in the fight, I was like, oh, it's so easy. Like, mate, come on, give me something that I'm not expecting. I was just expecting everything that he was giving me, you know what I mean? Like, I was prepared for every single thing that he had. So it was well worth torture in the gym.
You could see really kind of broke him down. He kind of really ran out of ideas kind of after between rounds 4 and 6. He just really had no answer at all for you. You kind of just seemed to come on getting stronger and stronger. And again, I think maybe what you've done that fight is you really kind of showed everyone that you can box, that you can really control the fight. Even kind of in prep for this, I kind of watched back the Tevin Farmer fight there last week. You know, and maybe things were a little bit more rushed. I feel like maybe since that last fight, kind of you've matured so much as a fighter now, and you're really kind of ready to take on that kind of next level of opposition.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is, when I had the Farmer fight, like, I was only like, I always take out prize fight because 3 fights in 3 nights, 3 3-minute rounds, might as well be amateur bloody bouts, you know. So I try to take them out, and like I went in against him with like 16 fights or something like that. So if you take them 3 fights out of there, that's like 13 fights. So I wasn't very experienced. A lot of my fighting has been like 6 rounders and, you know, stuff like that. So I wasn't really experienced on how to do the 12 correctly. I only done 2 12 rounds, I think it was, before the Tevin Farmer fight. So it's not like the perfect preparation, I suppose. But at the same time, when an opportunity like that arises, man, you just have to take it with both hands. Like, it is what it is. And I done myself proud, you know what I mean? It was mainly the experience what let myself down in the Tevin Farmer fight. But from that fight, I was able to sit back then with my team and say, right, this is what we need to work on now. So I never take anything as a loss, you know what I mean? No matter what, you can always pick the positives out of that and negative, you know. So we sat down with him and said, right, this is what we need to work on, and we worked on all those things like a blading, like demons, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even like me working hard, it was me trainer working hard. He was watching footage constantly. He must have watched the Farmer fight bleeding 100 times, and there was a lot of things even my coach has improved on, you know. So as a team, it's made us way, way stronger. Not me just as a fighter, but as a team, it's made us so much stronger. So I'm happy it all went the way it went, because now I feel actually prepared and ready for world titles. Because after being over there then sparring with Tevin Farmer, there's a lot of, we talked about the fight and we sat and watched the fight together. And there's so many things that he was able to give me a little bit of pointers on and stuff. And it made a massive difference then in the quick fight, you know. You know, sometimes when I'm ready, I like to have a bit of a fight sometimes. So when it gets heated, I was like, right, let's go. And then I was like, no, back in your game plan. Boom, back to that jab. Every time I felt like I wanted to go to war and wanted to do more, I started the jab. That's all I needed to do, was just, I knew I had to control him really well with the jab, and I done it quite smart, you know. But as a fighter, the main thing is to stay relaxed under the crowd, and the crowd is all like, yeah, screaming. And you have to kind of half hurt him, and you know you half hurt him. You kind of go in for the kill, but then when you know he's not going, it's like back on this jab, back to the game plan, and yeah, don't get too excited, because we did get too excited in the farmer fight. So, look, it's made us a better.
It is definitely something I saw in the former fight. Kind of, as I said, yeah, you were your punch volume was immense, you know. But yeah, maybe kind of rushing things a little bit too much, getting stuck in a little bit too much. He was kind of maybe doing the kind of the cleaner work, as I say. But listen, honestly, even watching that fight last week, man, kind of sitting watching you, kind of, you know, singing the national anthem, fucking giving it the hoo-ha, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure coming out of that fight, you've gained a huge kind of amount of new fans over in America, where kind of, as we both know, in boxing, that's kind of where it really matters, you know?
For sure.
Do you have any plans to fight over in America in the not too distant future?
Yeah, I'd love to fight in America a lot, because I actually have a massive following, massive fan base there. It's mad. But it's because I'm Irish, because I love to talk, blading rubbish, you know what I mean? I love to wind people up. The Americans love that, you know what I mean? So it is a good thing, but I happen to be out there a little bit more, especially with like the zone being out there, like with Matchroom getting a lot of fights out there. I'm not even with Matchroom, but I'm just saying, if I'm with Matchroom, the zone, Matchroom, they have a massive stable out there, or else Top Rank and all of them. Like I have a lot of options now, because I'm an open book. I'm not signed to anybody as of yet, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to see what offers come. And yeah, regardless who we sign with, I'm sure there's going to be many fights in America. And yeah, I love that over there. Listen, I was 26, topping the fucking a bill with like the likes of Katie Taylor and all of me on that card, you know what I mean? Like fucking fighting for the world title in America. It doesn't get much better than that.
You know, big time. I think that's what people forget. And even kind of, because we went to Canada years ago, and you were only, 14, 15, even back at the time when you had a fucking full beard and the whole lot. You know, you look a lot older than you are, maybe. Like, you really are. You're only 26, and the world really is your oyster right now. You know, you kind of just said you've got the options, you are the decision maker now. Kind of said nobody's kind of really telling you what to do, which is a beautiful position to be in, I'm sure.
For sure. Like, that's it. When you talk about Canada, man, that seems like it was bleeding yesterday. We were boxing in Canada. Like, I was literally... Remember, I couldn't get my first fight. They wouldn't let me in with my first fight because I was inexperienced. I only had 2 fights when we went to Canada. So that shows how early that is on in my career. I literally had 2 fights when we met. You know what I mean? That's mad to think of that. But they were good times. But from that, I find like I came back from Canada, and just the experience I gained over there, I was working really hard. Like, that was the year I won the All-Irelands and all. I went 22 fights with no losses that year. Yeah. And I think Canada kind of gave me that boost, you know what I mean? That kind of, this is actually what I want to do, because I had so much fun on that trip. It was just great to be there with a lot of lads. Like, they were brilliant memories, you know what I mean?
Yeah, big time.
Brilliant.
Actually, I have these over here on the wall. There's a picture of the team photo over here. Me, you, and Cooney, Phelan, Jim, fucking
deadly.
Daniel, all the lads.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. My dad only sent me the crew photo as well. It was probably about 6 months ago. I remember looking at some of them, were like, oh, like feeling and all, like kids, you know what I mean? I was like, wow, look at these fucking, it was mad. Some of them are literally kids that we went away with.
And a lot of the boys went on to do really well. Stephen Trace, he's done very well in the amateurs.
Trace done amazing. Yeah, how young did he look in that picture? But he looks about 12. Yeah. Mad, like, they were good times, but they were very good times, you know. But and that, a lot of the lads went on and done good things in the seniors and that.
Big time, yeah. Yeah, big time. Again, I think that trip kind of, I think for anybody though, I think it's really important for any kind of young athlete getting into the game, any sport really. It's like kind of getting that acknowledgement kind of at a young age, and kind of maybe getting selected for these kind of teams and getting to go on the trips. It kind of, it just kind of helps you kind of say, oh, actually, you know what it is, maybe I am good enough. And it kind of really boosts your confidence. And then it also sets a standard for yourself. You say, you know what it is, no, I'm one of the best fighters in Leinster. So I'm going to go there to All Irons. I'm going to perform. I'm going to do my bit. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. So the thing is, that was my first year boxing when I boxed in the Leinsters before that. And I made it to the Leinster final. So whoever was watching was obviously, who is this kid, number one? He's only to come on the scene. But at 15, to even make it to the Leinster final, people are kind of like, that's quite good. You know what I mean? At 15, people are getting destroyed in their first bout at 15, you know? Yeah. And whereas I made it, I got to the Leinster final at least. And then I was good enough to kind of, for them to say, listen, let's bring him to Blade in Canada and see how he gets on. But from that trip, because I didn't want to be a letdown on that trip, I knew a lot of them lads had way more experience than me. I was training twice a day before I went away to Canada, you know? So that's how, like, half dedicated I was even as a kid. Like I was getting up before school, jogging at 6 o'clock, coming home, training, because I knew, right, what I'm lacking here in experience, I need to make up for in fitness and strength and stuff like that. So,
Big time.
but it was great to be able to go away and get that experience in Canada, you know, because like you said, it was only a Leinster squad. It wasn't an Irish team.
Yeah.
But we all went on to do good things then, even in the seniors and stuff like that, you know. So, yeah, it's amazing. But to then top the bill and fucking 26 in America, it's mad. Like sometimes I'd be thinking back on my own career, because when you're doing it, you're not really appreciating it. When you're doing it, you're in the midst of things. So you're just like, get this shit done. Get every day of camp. That's all you have to get done. You know, you're not really thinking about the future or anything. And then all of a sudden, the fight day is there, and you're like, oh shit, I have to fucking fight this person.
Yeah.
Like, it's like all these people had to buy tickets. You've no turning away now. So you just go. You have to fight. You do it, and obviously, whatever way it works out, it works out. But for me to now look back on my career, it's like, think even about Canada, man, how far we've came since then to even topping the bill in America. It's just fucking mental, you know what I mean? It's mad for me to even look back. I haven't appreciated my career as of yet. Like, I know once it's all said and done, I'll sit back and be like, I fucking done all right. I accomplished a good bit, like, you know. But right now, I'm like, I haven't accomplished jack shit yet until I get that world title. That's my mindset on things.
You know, big time. And then kind of taking it kind of right back then kind of to what you kind of got you in the box. And I know kind of obviously your dad was a huge influence. Again, he's kind of on my Facebook. I see him all the time. Again, one of the best coaches in the country, I think, especially with the 𝐕𝐵𝐲𝐬. I think one of the best amateur fighters we've had now in a generation, really, you know. So kind of, because I know obviously your dad was a big influence kind of getting you in the boxing area. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, like, I've told the story a few times, but like I got in a fight as a kid, like with a traveller, and just a little bare knuckle boxing match, and we just battered each other. And he gave me a black eye. So when I went home, my dad was like, "Right, come on, you go to the gym." So my dad, funny enough, I'm doing an interview later on with John O'Brien. He was a former professional boxer, and I remember watching him and my dad spar as kids. My dad, Mark O'Toole, John O'Brien, all in sparring as kids, you know. So when my dad brought me to the gym, that's what I was watching. I wasn't seeing my dad like playing football or hurling, you know, all these type of sports. It was like boxing was my dad's sport, and it's been in the family type of sport. But I never really picked it up until I was a little bit later, because my dad never pushed me into anything. My dad was always like, wherever you decide, then once you make a decision, then we go hard and we work hard for it, you know. So like I was playing football and I was in and out of all sorts of sports. And then eventually later, I just turned like 14, 15. I started going to the gym a lot with my dad. Every weekend, and then I just kind of enjoyed it a lot, you know. I actually sparred Kelly Harrington in one of those gyms that like my dad used to be sparring in with John O'Brien and stuff. And surely you know Kelly Harrington's like fucking world champion in the amateur stuff. Kelly was amazing, but it was her first year boxing as well, or second, or like she was just kind of getting into it. So both was almost started at the same time, and it was mental. I sparred her and I just got a buzz for it. She bust me nose and all, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, come get me nose bust off a girl. Like, I bashed basically. So I was like, fuck that. Like, so I just wanted revenge. So I started going back to the gym, and I said to my dad, I was like, listen, I think I want to start competing now. I enjoy sparring. And also I want to get her back. I want to get better. And I can't be battered her by just sparring her. You know what I mean? I need to spar more people. So I started getting in with my dad, just started enjoying it more. And then we lived out in Ross Cross at the time. So the closest boxing gym was Navan Boxing Club. So my dad just brought me up to Navan Boxing Club, and straight away I was sparring Chris Blaney in that. So I was getting, like, Chris was like 3-time Irish champion or something at the time, and he was the same weight as myself. So straight away I was getting quality sparring, getting bashed like, but I was getting deadly sparring, you know, for me, by a much more experienced fighter at the time. And then Chris started going up in the weight, I started going up a little bit in the weight, and then he was just getting too heavy for me. But because he was the only one that could spar, I had to spar him, you know. So it was like I had to be stronger, faster, I had to be just fitter, just to even be getting in on top of him to be able to work him, you know. So that made me work really hard, you know. So when it came, like, I had to fight Chris because I couldn't outbox him because he was always taller and longer and stuff. So I couldn't really box him. So I always had to fight him and hit body shots. So even as an amateur, I had to just get stuck in, half go to war, you know. And it just set me up best for the pro game, kind of, you know what I mean? Because I was sparring him, I had to fight. I had no really option but to fight because I couldn't box him.
You know, I know firsthand how good of a boxer Chris Maney can be. I've tried to fight him a few times and never really kind of got the hang of it. He's doing really well at the minute. He's overweight Ricky Hatton over in Manchester doing well.
Yeah, he's doing very well. Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like they're the type of people that I was in with from word go. You know what I mean? So for me, I had a lot more people that were more experienced than me straight away. So I was learning. I had to learn almost the hard way because I didn't learn as a kid. And you get brought up through the ranks, like through the toughness. I was training at 15 when people can already fight, they can already bang a little bit, they can, you know. So Chris was already like haunting me. The amount of times I got dropped, hurt with body shots, and you know, little things. My first year was like, maybe you fuck off, like you know I'm not that good, like you're whacking me to the body, like fuck off. But you just have to, as a boxer, if you don't show up, then you're a pussy, like so. It's like you just have to show up every time, and whether you're getting dropped or not. Like I remember going in to get the roll of tissue from my nose. Because every session it was bust open, wide open. You know? Now I never get a busted nose, you know, and I never get hurt with body shots. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me was training with Chris because he used to just batter me, and so I was used to taking a hiding almost at an early age. So when I started becoming good, then no one was really giving me hidings, and it was just like this isn't too bad. You know what I mean? I'm not getting battered anymore, so I'm doing all right. And it just kind of snowballed. I just couldn't enjoy it, not getting bashed anymore, so I just kept going and going.
I find stuff like that is kind of be so powerful as well. It's like having like a training partner, maybe kind of having the right team around you. I'm not sure kind of what we were set up at MTK. I assume there's many world class boxers over there with you, but kind of having these people that kind of push you along, I find are so important for development because we when we can left our own devices, a lot of time we can leave a little bit in the tank, but having somebody who brings that extra 5 or 10% out of us regularly, I think really makes a big difference.
For sure, 100%. So my coach fought 𝐂𝐚𝐬𝐬, he fought bleeding Sergio Martinez, fought a lot of big names. So he is experienced professional fighter himself, when he was in the fight game. So when I joined forces with him, like I was more like or less a fighter, because being there with Pascal, I was just fighting all the time. I was in sparring Stephen Ormond all the time. So me and the ring was a tiny bloody ring. So we just used to get in and kill each other. It was just a fight all the time. You know what I mean? Basically, there was no boxing ability involved. And then when I come over to Spain, we started going a little bit more technical, but I was still fighting. And then when I joined up with this coach, he's just so specific with what he does. You know what I mean? He doesn't let you slack with your diet. Like what I'm saying, he has me doing with strength and conditioning now, even though there's no blatant talks of a fight. There's no talks of blatant when even we can possibly fight again. Never mind me, So, but he still has me on it. So when I done pads on for the first time, and stuff people were letting me away with, he was pulling me on straight away. He was like, "No, you need to do this and you need to do that." I was making sure I was twisting into my shots and loads of things. He was like, "No, mate, that's like." He was just on me. I was like, "What the fuck?" I actually walked out of the gym thinking, I felt like an amateur, you know what I mean? I felt like a bleeding. It was like my first day in the gym. I was like, fuck me. Like, I felt shit.
Yeah.
And many times I felt shit. And, like, I mean, in that camp with Quigg, even 2 or 3 times I felt like a bleeding amateur walking out. Like, no one, some days your mind's just not with your body. Your mind's telling your body to do something. Your body's just not able to do it, Yeah. And he was on me. And fucking hell, like, I felt like so bad sometimes. I was like walking away devastated with the training. So I was like, fuck that. But the next day I come back hungry because I'm like, I want to fix that. You know what I mean? I want that to be better next time. So every day I just want to be better. And I just find like we have so many undervalued professional fighters here over in Spain. It's mad because they don't get the opportunities that the Americans do or the bloody even Irish and English now at this stage do. Yeah. We have some quality Spanish fighters. But because the Spanish can't sell that many tickets because in Spain it's not a big boxing community.
Behind football.
Yeah, it's all football over here. So they get kind of half like pushed to the side, but it makes them hungry. It makes them work hard. So when I'm getting these sparring partners, man, because I'm a bit of a name now, they're coming trying to take my head off, make a name for themselves. You know what I mean? But it's great because it's making me work harder. So I don't care. It's a brilliant thing, It's great.
Yeah. And then come here, John. And so kind of when you're a little bit younger, then kind of after you were doing your bit in the amateurs, you kind of went off to Australia then, and that's kind of when your pro career really started. I think before you kind of start back boxing, kind of you're doing the usual kind of backpacker life or whatever, kind of floating in about. You're working in KFC and stuff for a while. What was your kind of motivation to then get back into boxing and become a professional fighter?
So I was working in loads of jobs, and I did working 2 or 3 different jobs at this stage, and nothing was like I wasn't enjoying anything. I wasn't like I was getting it done. I was happy to get paid and stuff like that, and it was nice to have a few quid in my pocket. But there was nothing giving me that like satisfaction as like, oh, that was great. Like that was a great week's work. Because I just felt like I was like, I'm working for someone else here. Like, you know, working for someone else's dream. I kind of like, not working on other people's jobs or other people's like businesses or whatnot. So I was just like, this is not like what I want to do in my life. For whatever reason, I always thought, like as a kid even, I always thought, I'm going to be loud. I'm going to live in the sunny country. I'm going to have a nice house. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to be able to buy that. Talking about buying planes and all when I was a kid. Like, you know, like promise me bleeding, like, one of my babysit is a woman who used to babysit me, and I used to promise her I'll buy you a plane one day and all, like, and she still reminds me. She's still like, when you buy me that fucking plane? I'm like, yeah, I need a few more World 12 fights first. But I always knew, even as a kid, I was telling her I was going to be buying planes and buying this, buying that, you know. So, from my mindset as a kid was always like, I want to be something. I want to do something extra with my life. So, I was working over there, and yeah, it was good to be getting a paycheck and that, but I knew like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? This is not satisfying enough to me. Whatever it just wasn't satisfying enough, you know, because I wasn't working on my own self. So then I just went back to the gym. I actually got let go from this job because we could only be in jobs 6 months at a time, and then you had to move on to the next job. So I got let go from one job because the time was up basically. So I was like, right, grand. And I was bored looking for bleeding jobs, and that's when I fell into KFC. And KFC was only around the corner from the boxing gym. So I got the job at KFC, and then I was like eating all the chicken and getting fattened off of KFC. I was like, fuck this, so I need to get back to the gym. Like, so I just went to the boxing gym because it's in Australia, like, so it's sunny. You want to be walking around with your top off. You don't want to be a little pudding walking around. You know what I mean? So that's why I just fell back into the gym, basically just to lose a bit of weight. And the first day I went in, I seen a fella sparring, and he fought at lightweight. But he was fighting fellas at like 75 kilo and all, 80 kilo, much bigger than him. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Because that wouldn't have been allowed in an amateur gym in Ireland. You know, people would have been like, no, get out. Like, but because this was the only work this fella basically could get, because the lads were like half decent who we were sparring, but they were still like probably 1 or 2 fights as an amateur, you know, like, so they weren't good. So I said to the trainer, I was like, if you want, I can jump in and give him a little move around. And he said, oh no, he's just done, this is his last round now, but you can come back tomorrow and give him a little spar if you want, or get tomorrow or the next day and give him a little spar. I was like, yeah, grand. I was like, can I just hit the bags on that today? Then, yeah, no problem. So I was hitting the bags, and then straight away he came over with me after I done my session. He was like, you look quite good there, blah, 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 blah. Like, we'll see how you get on tomorrow. And he just kind of asked me a bit more information about myself. So I told him, listen, I went to All Irelands, blah, blah, blah. I loved amateur boxing. I was like, but I want to go to 2012 Olympics. I broke my hand. And I just felt like it was kind of gone then, you know what I mean? So I just actually walked away from the sport, and now I'm over here trying to get a job, just get a bit of work, you know what I mean? So when he was like, yeah, fair enough. So I got in anyway the next day, and I sparred his fighter, and I battered his fighter for 4 rounds. Battered him. Even the 4th round was fucked, but I battered him. And I was at him smoking weed all the day before. I probably smoked a joint before I went to the fucking match, before I went to the spar. And so I battered him anyway. And I was like, this is too easy. Like, you know what I mean? These fucking Australians, these professional boxers. So when I got out anyway, I got out of the ring, and your man was like, why don't you turn pro? You're a good pro. He has like 4 fights as a professional. He only lost 1, and that was his first. And he got an injury, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, listen, I was like, in Ireland or England or that, and you need to go to the Olympics. You need to make a bit of a name for yourself. I need to probably go to America to turn pro. I was like, it's just not as easy as that over where I come from. I was like, but mate, I don't want to fucking be an amateur. I've got robbed in the amateurs hundreds of times. I'd love to be a professional. I was like, if you want to turn me pro, then let's do it, mate. No problem. So we said, yeah, okay, I know a promoter. We'll have 1 more amateur belt and we go pro. I was like, fuck it, let's do it then. And the rest is history. I just done that. And it's mad, mate, where it all came from. I must message him and just say, yeah, thanks, mate. Because it wasn't for him, I wouldn't probably be a pro. You know what I mean? He's the one that asked me to go pro. I didn't even ask her to go pro. He asked me to go pro.
So it's kind of one of these things. One of these things, and because I know you kind of talk a little bit about it, and we might kind of touch on a little bit, kind of things like, you know, law of attraction and the universe, and kind of putting things out there, and kind of maybe some kind of the universe has like has a plan for you, kind of, and all this kind of stuff, which kind of I kind of believe in a little bit as well. You know, I kind of believe like you gotta speak it into existence. You gotta manifest your own dreams. You can't wait for somebody else to do it. You get what I'm saying? You gotta be taking 100%. Action all the time. But then, because so now, kind of now in your career, like, what are your motivations today? I know you've got a beautiful family, you've got a long-term partner, Gemma, a little baby. You know, obviously, kind of securing your family's financial future, all that kind of stuff is kind of the big priority now. What are, like, do you want to leave a legacy in boxing? I know you said sometimes maybe boxing you see sometimes as a bit of a means to an end kind of thing. What is your perspective now that you're really kind of approaching that next level?
Yeah, you know what? For me, it was always a means to an end because I never planned on boxing. Even though I loved it, I never planned on this is how I'm going to make all my money or this is how I'm going to be, you know, just how I'm going to live my life. I just loved the sport. Simple as that. Like, people say, like, oh, some people box for money, some people box for all sorts of reasons, you know. I box because I enjoy the sport and because of what it's kept me away from. I enjoyed, don't get me wrong, I fucking enjoy the fact that I get to pay the bills, you know what I mean? And all that sort of stuff. But there's many easier ways to make money. Best fucking believe it, you know what I mean? Than the boxing.
𝐂𝐚𝐬𝐬, you remember 𝐂𝐚𝐬𝐬?
Yeah,
man from Panifa. He's one that he drilled that into my head a long time ago. That's one of the reasons I want to be an entrepreneur. He's like, there's easier ways to make money, and that's kind of like maybe fell in love with the dream of turning pro and stuff. I was like, you know what it is? You're right, 𝐂𝐚𝐬𝐬.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely easier ways to make money. And for me, I have a very good head on my shoulders as well. Like, entrepreneur, I'm the same. I want businesses constantly. I'm always thinking of different businesses, different opportunities coming up, you know. Because like you say, like, I need to secure my family's fucking future forever. Because for me, like, I only looking at probably having maybe 2-3 more years in this game. I'm not looking at being maybe 3 or 4. Let's be real, like, because I'm only going to be 31 kind of. So like 31, 32, I want to be out of this sport. So for me, I'm just looking at getting as big as fights as I possibly can now. Leaving a legacy, I don't know, like, just, I don't really give a fuck about all the legacy because, like, it is what it is. Someone somewhere is going to come along, no matter what I do in the sport, someone somewhere is going to come along and try to beat that fucking legacy, and they're going to do it, you know what I mean? Like, so it is what it is. So I'm just looking at trying to enjoy my life, enjoy the process, and enjoy the sport, you know, enjoy the whole journey, not just the destination. So for me, it's more about having fun with it, you know what I mean? Enjoying it. Knowing that these are just experiences that I'm having in my life, you know what I mean? Like, boxing isn't me. Like, boxing doesn't define me. It's not what I am as a person or who I am as a person, you know? But yet, I love the sport and I appreciate the sport and I love the fact that it's given me the platform that it's given me, you know, to be able to help people. So I don't know, like, my whole thing, I enjoy helping people. I really enjoy helping people. I enjoy giving people my bit of life experience, I suppose, on boxing and life in general and fucking how to get over bleeding, losing someone, depression, all that sort of shit. Like, I'm helping people behind the scenes, and I'm not one to be boasting and bragging about it. I don't really give a fuck about all that. Like, but that's why I love the sport, is that it's given me that platform that I'm able to help people and I'm able to, I don't know, just make a difference in someone's life. Like, I always used to say when I was a kid as well, like, if you can make a difference in one person's life in your lifetime, then you've done something good. Like, your life was worth living. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I always just want to help people. So boxing, I've been able to help people along even the sport and been able to give people nutritional advice and fucking all that sort of shit, you know? But I don't know what boxing is, to be honest, and why I do it. I just do it because I enjoy it. You know, I do it because I love it. And I don't know what the goal is in the main. I just know I want the world title. Like, I can't die and not get a world title. Like, I won't die a happy man if I don't achieve my world title. And simply because nothing got to do with the world title, because when I get that world title, the world title itself, like the belt and all that itself, doesn't mean jack shit. Like, I don't care about the belt. Like, my dad has my first European belt, IBF European belt. I gave that to my dad. So he has that in his house. The prize for a trophy as well, gave that to my dad because he loves the sport. Like, I enjoy the sport, but I don't love the sport. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. Yeah, he's a fan of the sport. Like, he loves it. But and then my intercontinental IBF, like, I have in the gym in MTK Marbella. So I haven't even got anything in my house. Like, there's nothing in my house. I have no belts. I have no achievements. I have nothing in my house because that's not the achievement. Like, the belt isn't an achievement. The achieving the belt in the first place, the fight that you had to achieve it, you know, like the name of achieving that in the first place, that's what the achievement is, you know. And then all the pushing yourself throughout the camps and stuff like that, like the every day waking up, accomplishing the everyday goal, they're all goals that I'm happy that I achieved. You know, like I didn't slack. I fucking made weight when I needed to make weight. Like they're all goals that, as a man, I'm happy that I achieved them because I said I would achieve them. So it just shows that I'm a disciplined human being, and I believe anyone, no matter what sport or whatever, what fucking job you're involved in, if you're a disciplined human being and you can, and you have your head screwed on and your mind right, and you like you said with the whole law of attraction thing, if you're visualizing things, you're writing things down and what you want to accomplish, and then you give like a yearly goal, a monthly goal, a fucking weekly goal, and then even a daily goal. Like if you think about like say a yearly goal, if you just think about it and you're like, oh, I'm gonna achieve that, but you have no fucking plan in place how to achieve it, you're probably never gonna achieve it. But if you wrote down that goal and then you wrote down the steps on how to achieve that goal, and then there's an everyday step, then you have a plan in place. Then you know how to achieve shit. You know what I mean? So there's just like something people need to do a lot more. Is like when they want to achieve something or they need to write it down, and they need to then write down how they're going to achieve it, the day by day steps. You know what I mean? And don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just worry about the little day by day steps. Like don't worry about the big fucking goal, like because that shit will come with time. Because like look at me, I fought for a world title, but my steps were like train twice a day when I was 15 to fucking in Canada to win when I went to Canada. I won when I went to Canada, and then it was like, right, let's fucking continue training twice a day to win this All Ireland. And that year I won the All Ireland, you know. So like it was always the train, the little small part, and then you will accomplish the big goal, you know.
As I found about kind of combat sports in general, obviously kind of boxing, I love boxing as well. But combat sports in general are so useful for kind of fine tuning your own kind of mental skills. You know, I feel like kind of for me, boxing done for me really well was it really helped me kind of face my own demons and kind of overcome my own anxieties and develop my own self-confidence and discipline and all these other aspects that I feel like a lot of people are struggling with now, and maybe they're lacking these things in their life. You know, kind of a lot of kind of some things that would crumble some people. We take them with a stride in our step, because like if you've ever had to fight somebody with your mom, your dad, your cousins, everyone you know, all your friends, everybody's there. It's like that for me was a hugely anxious when I started
it's
younger.
Intimidating.
You learn to get over it.
For sure, it's so intimidating. Like many times, I used to say, "Ask me that is yourself." I used to ask my whole family, "Please don't come to this fight," because they used to always want to come to show the support. And now it's like, you cheapskate, get buy a fucking ticket, come to me fight. Now I'm like wanting everyone to be at me fights, you know. But it's mad. Before, as an amateur, like you said, like I was the same. I was a bit like shy. I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to make a show of myself. I didn't want to, you know, my own demons I was able to overcome. And that's just mental strength. And that's what I loved about the boxing, is that you have to be mentally strong to be able to fight someone. Even just the fucking dressing rooms, the drive towards the destination where you're about to fight. You're just like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Like I'm setting yourself up to have a scrap with someone. And like, if anyone's ever had a straightener before, it's not much different. Like if it's a planned straightener and it's like a day or two ahead, then it's the exact same thing. You have the same nerves, the same excitement, your fucking butterflies and all. You still can't really sleep. Like it's almost like a similar thing.
Yeah.
But ours is just in front of thousands of people. So if you lose or you get knocked out, it's way more embarrassing. You know what I mean?
You know, big time. There's definitely a lot more on the line. And it's what is kind of the day-to-day life like now for you, John? Like what is the life of a professional fighter look like? Training, nutrition, all that fun stuff.
Living the fucking good life, mate. Every day, I swear to God, I'm not messing. Every day is a good day for me, mate. Because I wake up knowing I'm accomplishing my dreams. I'm en route to accomplishing my goals. So, like you were saying before, like the depression, the anxiety, I believe all of those, the likes of those, even schizophrenic, all those mental states, I believe they all happen because we all want to know what our purpose is in this fucking mad, crazy ass life. And people are so like stressing about what they should do. And that's why we go to school and that's why we get an education and all. But then it's like, you have to get a job. And then it's like, you have a family, then you have to pay bills. And people are kind of like, well, where the fuck is my time? Like, where is like stuff that I enjoy doing? Like, where is like, you know, some time for myself. So I created a life around me that is positive, is a happy life, is a fucking, I wake up in the morning, take a few deep breaths, like I do a bit of breathing technique, I get in a cold ass shower, like so this morning I didn't do my breathing technique, do the Wim Hof, yeah, but I jump up, I usually have a shower and then I do a workout or something. But this morning I done the Wim Hof. The baby was bouncing all over me, so I couldn't relax. I was like, fuck this. Jamie, you make breakfast. I'm going out there a little 15, 20 minutes, blast on these weights. Straight away, I just done that. Had a little shake, doing my weights in the sun. Like, it was first thing this morning. And then it was like, right, I have my whole day there. What you want to do, babe? We going to go to swim pool? You want to do thing? I went down, had a swim. I done that. Like, so it's still early. It's 1 o'clock in the day. I've already got a workout in. I've already had a swim, playing with the baby. I was teaching her how to swim without her armbands on. You know, she's only 3. But I'm like, fuck it, why not? You know what I mean? So, like, every day I've just created a life around myself that is a beautiful life. I keep waking up. Every day I'm saying to the missus, like, so blessed. Like, we are so fucking blessed. Like, and you see on many of my posts, I always hashtag blessed, or I always, you know, let it be known that I don't take this life for granted. I created this life. I worked extremely hard for this life, but I visualized this life and I said this was the life I was going to live. And I wrote down the plans on how to accomplish this life. So, you know, I'm very thankful and happy in my own self, but getting back to the whole, what we were talking about, being anxious and being stuff, I don't feel that anxious anymore. I used to have it when I was a kid a little bit. I never feel anxious anymore because I know I'm en route to a good life. I'm en route to accomplishing a good life. And not even just with boxing, like I'm with making money. Like, I'm not talking about that is a good life. Like what you were saying about, you need to be very mentally strong with boxing. So, like, I'm getting into doing like this breathing technique, the Wim Hof breathing technique, meditate and all that fucking yoga, mad shit like that. Like, normally I would be like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, like that. When I was a teenager, man, I would have laughed at somebody that said I'd be doing yoga at this age. I'm like, fuck off, maybe you get out of here. Like, but I'm doing it because it's making me happy. Like, it's making me, like, the other day, just take this for an example. The other day, I woke up, and I'm always positive. I'm always in good form because I always try to do, but because I always try to do something like a workout or something to kind of make me feel good. But because I woke up this day and it was my rest day, and I swear to God, I was sitting there and I got bored down my head, and I could just feel tension. And I was like, I knew I was going to have an argument with Gemma if I had continued going the route I was going, you know what I mean? So I was like, no, this is not good. I was like, Gemma, give me 5 minutes, I'll be back in a minute. So what are you doing? I was like, I'm just going upstairs, just going to do this little breathing technique. I'll be back down in a minute. She's like, are you fucking real? It's like in the middle of the day. Like, I was like, yes, so, like, I'm just going to do it. I just need 5 minutes for myself. I was like, I just need this time. And she was like, all right, you might think, go on, whatever. So I was like, grand. So I went upstairs, 15 minutes or something. I set my alarm. And I put on this, like, brain waves. Like, this how much I'm getting into my mind type of shit, you know? Like, I put on this brainwave music stuff. It's Brain Emmanuel or something. It's some app that I have on my phone. And it gives you, like, these brain waves. And it kind of puts you on this certain frequency, you know what I mean? So we want to be in, like, a happy frequency, like a good mindset. So I put on, like, this brain thing, done the Wim Hof breathing while I was listening to it, put on the earphones, and I swear to God, mate, I done the breathing technique in the space of like 10, 15 minutes. I came back down the stairs like floating on cloud 9. The rest of the day was great, you know? So, not just, my life isn't great. I'm not like boasting about my life, oh, it's a fucking great. I make my life great. I choose to be happy. Like, happiness is a choice. We all choose to be happy. We choose to be miserable. We choose to bitch about other people, or we choose to spread negativity or positivity. One or the other. It's totally your choice.
I'm kind of in the same boat, and I can be similar. So I'm kind of the one that's kind of usually positive, usually happy, kind of all this stuff. But as I said, I feel like what I wrote down there was like, you know, it's this whole concept of action. It's like we're made to be in movement. We're not when we stay in the same space where that's kind of when our relationships or career, whatever it is. If we're not moving forward, we're built for progress. And this kind of concept of my favorite thing is action alleviates anxiety. So when we take action, as you said, we're in this space, but then it's through the movement. And again, a lot of the time it can be moving the body, but it's moving the mind. And I feel like one of the things I kind of looking back is kind of one of the reasons I really struggled with anxiety was I didn't realize that I could actually take control of the thoughts. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
You did, like, because the fear on the stuff kind of comes in. That's just the natural kind of default setting. But that's the human reaction. That's a human body reaction, is to keep you safe. Yeah.
You know? And that's from your parents almost as a kid. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that jumping on you for everything. But yeah, you're 100% correct on what you're saying. You're in control of your thoughts. You're in control of what you're thinking. And it's good that you're conscious of your thoughts. Because when you're conscious of it, then you're almost in a position to change and flip your thoughts. Because if you're conscious of your negative thoughts, then why can't you change them negative thoughts to be positive thoughts?
Yeah. But people forget is it's for me anyway, it works through repetition. It's like doing it once is all right, but you got to do it every day. Like I use like something called a 5-minute gratitude journal. Every morning you write down 3 things I'm grateful for, my intention for the day, all this simple stuff. But people the simple stuff people discount it as being too simple, but it really has a huge impact. I've got a couple of books.
Oh, huge.
One of my favorite things to do is kind of study successful people. And obviously you would be defined obviously as a successful person, a person who's living their goal, kind of manifesting their dreams, all this kind of stuff. But the key thing is they all take action towards the goal. They're not passive in life. You know, whether they take control of their thoughts and they take control of their actions and they set a plan and they do, as I said, it's as simple as set the goal, reverse engineer. We'll break it down into the steps. I want to make 100 grand a year. 100 grand a year is what? 10 grand a month, 8 grand a month. You get what I'm saying? Right. What's that? So a week I need to make 2 grand a week, or what can I do to make 2 grand a week? You get what I'm saying? I know this big goal is now in some way attainable. You know, it's more realistic.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what people don't see. It's people want something really hard and confusing and fucking almost daunting, and they will accept that answer. Yeah. You know, if the hard and confusing, because then they're like, that's too hard. Fuck that. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But when you give them an easy thing to do that they can simply do, they still choose not to do it.
Yeah.
Most people still choose not to write down their goals, not to write down their dreams and all this stuff, because it sounds too easy. But those easy things all it is basically is to give you something to work towards and to give you an image, putting images in your head. Because like the conscious and unconscious mind, we don't know the difference between what is reality and what is not reality. So if we're closing our eyes and we're imagining driving that Ferrari or driving this, driving that, your mind doesn't really know what the difference is, you know, because realistically you could have done that, because we are just a form of energy, and our brain and all that shit, it's just on kind of, we are just basically programmed. That's all it is, programmed as a kid, you know, and then it's up to you whether to reverse that program or not, or stick with that program. So for me,
I feel like somewhere a lot of people get caught is kind of they get caught in the mindset, whereas maybe it was a little bit unfair. Maybe you did have a poor start. And again, sure, we could all talk about our problems. I know a little bit yours. You've had a tough coming up again, lost a lot of people you really care about. But what we can do is, it's not your fault, but you can be damn sure it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to fix it. You know, and it wasn't your fault. No, maybe you did not deserve it. No, nobody deserves it. But who's going to take control now? Are you going to wait for somebody to come and save you? Are you waiting for a hero? The hero's not coming. You know, when you got to stand up and do it on your own.
100%. You need to be that hero.
Yeah.
I say that to a lot of people. Like someone asked me what advice, or someone asked me in an interview they only do a day, and that was actually what I said. What advice would you give to someone like the people coming up? I said, just be your own hero in your own fucking story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are like, who do you look up to? I'm like, I don't really look up to anyone. I look at people as like that I would like to be, like successful people, business people and stuff like that. Monks and all, man. I'm fucking Googling all these monks, how to meditate and all this mad shit. But I'm just like, I'm trying to take a little piece of every single person and add it to my own game. Whatever works for me works, and whatever doesn't, then it doesn't work. Whatever, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But for me, I'm just trying to take as much on board as I possibly can. You know, I'm trying to read all these self-help books, blading business books, fucking how to win in life, how to win in law, how to win in blading, how to like mind fuck people, all this sort of shit, and it all helps me when I'm in boxing, when I'm in the press conference and all. Like, it's business is no different to the sport almost. You know, like you can read a business book or you can win a book on winning and accomplish stuff in sports, but they're nearly the two, like the actions you may take is nearly the exact same things. You know what I mean? So
success leaves clues.
Yeah, success does leave clues. And one thing what I will say is, what we all need to realize is that if someone else has accomplished it before, why can't you? You know what I mean? What fucking makes them better than you? Nothing. The only thing that makes them better than you is that they went and they believed in themselves and they worked really hard. They wrote down their goals. They set a standard. And once you see the thing is, once you set a standard for yourself, you don't ever want to go below that standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the life I'm living right now, from the boxing and stuff, like in Spain and stuff, I don't like. So just take this for an example. I lived in Australia. I lived for about 4 months, I think it was, in a shed doing my farm work. Me and Gemma lived in a shed, like a work shed, like a tool fucking shed. You know what I mean? Like, we had one microwave, we had a double bed, and literally that's all that was in the bleeding thing. Now, what? Oh, we had a toasted cheese sandwich maker, ham and cheese sandwich maker. That's what we had as well. So that is what we lived off, basically, for bleeding months. We could have a shower in the house, but like the house wasn't ours. You know what I mean? Like that we could have a shower, that was it. But like, my God, like there's no chance, or not that there's no chance, because I'd do it in a heartbeat. But if I could choose to, I wouldn't. I would never have my family to live there again, because I've set the standard to where I'm living now. You know what I mean? Like, once you start living in better places and better buildings and stuff like that, you're like, I don't want to live in the flats again after moving out. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to anyone that's there, because we have been there. I've been there. You know what I mean? Like, if I hadn't got took in and got to stay in that bleeding shed, I would have been homeless. Like, me and Gemma would have been homeless. And that is no joke. Like, we were literally about 2 days from being homeless. And that woman offered us her shed in Australia. And we're like, blessed. We were fucking so happy, like over the moon. Like, I'm not messing. Actually, I was happier that day that I got that tool shed to sleep in than the day I bought my house. I'm not even fucking messing, because I wasn't stressing that much. I was renting a place. I had a place that I was living here anyway. I wasn't stressing about life, so I didn't need to buy this car, but I did. But fuck me, when I was in Australia, I was looking at cars and all to buy, and I had about 400 or 500 quid of savings, and I needed that to do me the whole time while I was doing my farm work. And I was still looking at the car to buy just to sleep in. You know, it was that bad, man. So it's mad from where it was to where I am now. Like what you were saying, it's not your fault maybe that you've been in a bit of a rut, or you got born into a certain type of family, or like your mother or father are bleeding addicted to drugs or depressed or whatever the case may be. You know, we all have different situations, but it is definitely your fucking life and your responsibility to take hold of your own life and say, I'm not living like this. I want to live better. And that's all in your hands. Because I was always the one that said, from a kid, I want to live in a sunny house, a sunny place, sunny country, this, that. I was the one that went to Australia. I'm now living in Spain. Like, I wasn't giving up on that dream, that goal. You know what I mean? Even though from Australia, I went back, I lived in Ireland for a year or two to then get me over here. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? You need to take sacrifices in order to get to where you want to get to. So sometimes it's all right to take a backward step, but once you set the bar, it's good to keep raising that bar. Like you said, we wouldn't have anxiety and stuff like that, I think, if we constantly are progressing and constantly. And that's what my job as in boxing, that's what that makes. Like, you know yourself, you're a boxing man. You can never learn, or you can never know too much in boxing. There's always something. You know, you're always doing something wrong, or you're always not fit enough, or you're not fucking strong enough, or you're too fat, or you're not on weight, or there's always something that you need to work on. So boxing, you always have to be better. And I find that's what has made me better, because I've took that concept and put it into my life.
Yeah, no, unreal. And then you touched on that kind of, so you do kind of, you're into kind of reading the books and this kind of stuff. Any kind of book recommendations, any kind of real books that had a big impact on you?
Yeah, well, I read The Secret. I thought that was great, you know. But the one thing with The Secret and the likes of the books like that, they all tell you certain things, but they don't tell you how, like, they're all saying, like, just sit and fucking basically write letters and wish and dream that it comes. No, the shit isn't going to just land in your lap because you're visualizing it every day. You have to visualize it, yeah, but visualize it and then go out and do something to accomplish it. You know, like, so if I'm visualizing being a boxer, I still doesn't mean I'm going to visualize being a world champion and it's going to happen. I need to still get out and work and train and my ass off and make weight and eat the right foods and do all the correct things in order to make that goal a reality. So, like, you need to take action as well. You need to write down your goals, you need to do all your things, but you also need to take action. And I'm reading a book now at the minute, it's called Win. And I like that. It's good. But
it's psychology kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, psychology thing, yeah. It's basically on the front of it, it's just like a big maze. It's just Win in capital letters. It's like a big maze. But it's just about life and business and mental, you know, like, it's about everything, to be honest. Like, it's about, obviously, Win. Obviously, it's got to do with sports a lot, you know what I mean? But then there's bits in it, and it's all about business and stuff like that too, you know? It's all about mindset. And it's based on, it talks about a lot of the rugby footballers or the rugby players and stuff. The Irish rugby footballers, the Irish rugby players as well. And it talks about one or two of them in it. So it's a good thing. So I'm in the middle of doing that. But there's so many of them. You know what I mean? There's so many of them. Do you know what I read and I didn't finish it? I'm kind of half snapping. I didn't finish it. But what I keep doing is going back and just reading paragraphs out of it, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
I have that here somewhere. Yeah, big time. That's one that he's one of the kind of, he developed the self-help industry in general, didn't he? I think he the one he went around and interviewed all the successful millionaires and billionaires of his time.
Yeah,
and kind of took all the top tips, put them all in the book. He kind of really kicked things off.
100%.
Big time. If you have a chance, there's another really good book I've always recommended people. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and this is kind of. He goes through different rules. Rule 1 is be proactive. So it's like, be a proactive person. Don't be a reactive person. Don't be reacting to the economy. Don't be reacting to the weather. Be prepared. Focus on what you can focus on, and then don't worry about anything else. And then the second 100%. One is like, begin with the end in mind and put first things first, how to prioritize your day and all this kind of stuff. Really, 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 really good book. Highly recommend it. I'm not a great reader. A lot of time I'll buy the book after I've listened to it, just to kind of add it to my library. Because it looks cool. Audiobooks, because I've never, anyone here that kind of thinks, I was kind of maybe a little bit intimidated by people who say, oh, I've read 100 books. So I was like, fuck, I can never really imagine myself doing that. But what I can do is I can listen to an audiobook when I'm going running, or when I'm cutting the grass, or going out for a walk or whatever,
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I try to do. Like when I'm on the planes, because I'd be fucking always back and forth from blading press conferences and all sorts of shit. So even like the hour or two that you're sitting there waiting to go on the plane, I'm the same. I listen to the audiobook, and that is where I actually did Think and Grow Rich. I haven't got Think and Grow Rich as the book, because if I had that as the book, I probably would have read it, but I was just listening to it as the audio on my phone, because you can get it as an app. So people have no bleeding excuse these days. You can get them all on the apps.
Yeah, there's an amazing app. I'll link it below in this under this video. It's called Audible. Audible, again, it's unbelievable. It's a kind of sister company of Amazon. And again, nearly any book you want under the sun, you can get them. And I think it's like £8 a month. Again, the best money you'll ever spend. The book takes the lessons it has taken somebody a lifetime to learn, and condenses them into a book that you can read in a couple of hours or a couple of days or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's so bad for, like, £20, even if for a book, it's like the best money you'll ever spend.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is with books, like it's knowledge. You know what I mean? You're gaining knowledge. So like, the thing is, if I get a millionaire right now, right, I strip him of all his money and I throw him out into the world. That fella is going to come back in the next 2 years a millionaire again, because of the knowledge that he knows. Simple as bleeding that. So it's because of your mind. Like, you need to just gain more knowledge to be a more successful person. Like I find the more successful I'm getting, the more I need to know. The more I need to know about all this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the more I'm like on it, and I want to know more. So it's like, sometimes, like, I started with Bob Proctor and the Law of Attraction and fucking The Secret and all. That's who I started with originally. And then from him, man, I've went on to, like, that was like 3-4 years ago. And from him, and my boxing career is just sky high, it's rocketed. And now I love it. You know what I mean? Now I just know books is knowledge. And when you're gaining knowledge, man, like, that shit that, when you read, I find when you read something, it installs way better than when you hear it. That's the only thing about the audio books. When I hear it, I don't remember it as much. Because when I read it, I don't know, it just sinks in a lot better. You know what I mean? So
something I've tested with a little bit is actually having the book, reading the book, but listening to it at the same time. I find that works very well. Because I don't know what it is, just the focus of reading. I know I do struggle with it. But what I do, I'll read the book a couple of times. I
struggle with reading a lot, so I'm fucking brutal. Like, I was brutal in skill, and I never cared for skill, never paid attention to skill. Like, I was just a messer, you know what I mean? So for me, the same, reading was very daunting to me. Like, before I started getting into all these books, the only thing I ever read in my life was the Tupac book, and that was literally his poems. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't even a book, it was poems. Like, that was the only thing I ever read in my life. And so for me, I've only started reading by getting into all these. But what I do with the audio books is sometimes I press play, but I read at the same, as it's talking, I'm reading it on the screen.
Nice.
I find that drills into my head better. And like, even on the plane and all, like, if I just sit back sometimes and just close my eyes, I don't really, like, it doesn't sink in properly. But when I see it with my eyes and I hear it as well, like, because I'm reading it as well, I find it's actually made me a much better reader too, because now I'm reading really fast. Like, whereas I was never really that good of a reader, but it was all right. Like, but now I'm actually a quite good reader from doing this too. You know what I mean? So not only is it helping me with me fucking, also it's helping me with my speech. Reading books helps you with your speech loads.
Yeah,
I've noticed loads of times I've been doing interviews and all, and boom, I'll come out with some fucking word. I'm like, psh, who knew I had that in there? I swear to God, I'm not even messing.
And you're
It's
definitely
mad.
you're pretty good. I even I said I was kind of watching some of your videos there on YouTube over the last week or so, kind of before the podcast, and seen one of the interviews again with I think it was the second fight with 𝐂𝐚𝐫𝐬𝐬, on the Jamie Conlan undercard.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of again, you're definitely a character, definitely kind of good with the war of the words, as I say.
Yeah.
And do you have any inspiration? Obviously, is McGregor an inspiration for that, or Mayweather, all these people, Muhammad Ali? Again, I think that's another one of these things where success leaves clues. It's like if Ali done it, if McGregor done it, if Mayweather does, and these were all top. It's like there's something to it. You know, it's this whole thing.
Sure.
Speaking about it, not just kind of thinking, and having the courage.
Yeah. See, that's the big thing with people as well. A lot of people, they say it to their close circle, but they don't truly believe it. But when you put it out there to the world, you're either gonna have to bite the bullet when everyone says, you said this and it didn't happen, or else you truly believe it and you'll fucking accomplish it. So it's one or the other. You know what I mean? So for me, that's why I put a lot of things out there, and I enjoy being a character. Like I was saying to you earlier, I enjoy the whole process of it. I enjoy slagging Declan Garrity, enjoy slagging Farmer and all them, you know what I mean? Because like regardless whether Farmer won me in the fight, I fucking won the war on words there big time, and the mental games, I fucked with his head big time, and he told me that himself, and I went over sparring him. So even at the weigh-ins, I go some at the thing, ooh, look at skinny now, aren't you, boy, or something like that. And then I goes, look at them little chicken legs, fuck me, you must be killing yourself to make this weight. And he told me when I went over sparring, mate, that played a massive. I said that to the missus, and I was like, do you really think I have chicken legs and all? And his missus still slags him to this day about having chicken legs, because he took it like proper. That mentally got to him, you know. So even though he was good enough and experienced enough to be able to flip it around in the fight, but you could see the first part of the fight, I still had him as well. The first 2 rounds, he was shook. I fucking was still bashing him the first 2. You know, I still had him. If I had just stuck to the game plan, I would have won that fucking fight. But anyway, regardless of that, I love mentally fucking people because, number one, it's fun. Number two, it definitely gets to people. And number three, when I say some things, then it's like, right, now I need to back that up, like the law of attraction. I need to back that shit up now. I might have been speaking it into existence. Now let's make it come into existence. You know what I mean? And like I spoke stopping Scott Quigg into existence. Now I'm fucking seeing that shit coming.
Yeah. Big time. And but that's something me myself, because I run my personal training studio with my brothers. And again, one of these things, same as you, this whole thing, like I envision it and just kind of keep working towards. And now I've got this beautiful business where I work with my fiance, my brother Chris, my brother Brandon, Jenny's sister's now involved. This kind of beautiful thing we've got going. But as you were talking about we speaking into existence, we were kind of talking about, obviously a lot of our clients are struggling with their goals and all this kind of stuff at the minute. And one of the core concepts that I really believe in is the concept of leverage. It's like this concept of, like, as you said, it's like once you've said it, now you have to show up. So you create enough leverage to make you do it. It's like if I bet you €100 I'm going to go to the gym every day this week, I've got a lot of reasons to make sure I show up. The problem with a lot of people is when we're only letting ourselves down, we don't necessarily always do it. But what me and the boys have done, we've created this little group. We call our little wolf pack. And what we do is, it's like we've all set a goal. So we all have a weekly goal that we work towards each week. And if any one of us doesn't do the goal, everybody gets punished. So we all have to basically run. It's 5K for every person who hasn't the goal that week, because a lot of times it's easy to let yourself down, but if you're going to let your family down, or your brother down, or your friends down, you're much more likely to show up and do it. So what I'm kind of best advice to people is create as much leverage as you can. Stop waiting to be disciplined and do all this stuff. Create enough reasons for you to get to work, get in movement, and then we can work in the discipline and stuff like that as we go. The key is that you get started. Create enough reasons, get the ball rolling, get going, and it's a lot easier. It's like this whole concept of your man. Do you ever see your man kind of trying to push the big boulder? It's so difficult to get it going. But once it's rolling, once you have momentum, it's not too hard to keep it going. Getting started is the hardest part. So create enough reasons to kind of get going and talk yourself into it. You know, I always get like, I'm going to open the gym. You know what I mean? No way or means of opening a gym. And then the law of attraction kicked in. One of my clients then offered me 10 grand loan, zero interest, pays back in whatever's convenient. You know what I mean?
Because you spoke it into existence.
Exactly.
So that's just, let me just say that is a massive thing what you just said there. So if you hadn't spoke that, he wouldn't have gave you that 10 grand. You would never have got that. So there's what we're saying. Don't worry about how it happens. Sometimes it's the fucking most craziest thing. You're like, whoa, how did that actually just happen?
Yeah.
Like no interest, 10 grand. Here you go, mate. Open yourself a gym. You want to open a gym? Like that's fucking like that doesn't happen to many people. But because your wavelength, you were thinking on the right fucking frequency. Boom. He was like, he believed in you. And I say that as well to people when I'm in the press conference and stuff like that. I always say, if you don't believe in yourself, how the fuck can you convince anyone else to believe in you? So we'll see when these fighters are on the up and coming and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, I struggled with me confidence and with me this and with me that. But then, you know, number one, you're probably not working hard enough, because if you're working really hard, you wouldn't be struggling with confidence, because you'd be happy knowing, right, I'm at that working as hard as I fucking possibly can anyway. So win, lose, or draw here, I'm at that working as I can, as much as I could.
I've done my best. I've left it all in the gym.
I've done my best and left it all. So you wouldn't be like, that's where I get my confidence from, is because I work my ass off to accomplish all the things that I say I'm going to accomplish. But that is amazing what you just said there, because that's just proof in itself. The law of attraction works when you put it into the right practice and when you're on the right frequency. Like if you hadn't spoke that shit into existence, it would never have happened. So it just there's proof in the pudding, you know what I mean? And I said it to my little sister about so when I went back from Australia, I was 2 fights in. Two bleeding really nobodies, you know what I mean? It was only just 2 starting fights. So they were nobody. So it wasn't really, my dad was like, you were playing boxing in Australia. You weren't even a fucking professional boxer. You were only playing boxing over there. My amateurs is batting you now, blah, 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 all this shit. Like, so it's like, all right, whatever. But anyway, like, I'm not messing. I was playing boxing. But one time then I seen my sister was in this gap, and there was a big hole in the floor. The kitchen was a mess. She was living there with a kid. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you've been living here in this house the whole time? So this is my little sister Jay's, you know what I mean? I was like, no, you can't live here. I'm gonna change this for you. So I told her, listen, sis, tonight I'm going to gym. Navan, it was Johnstown Boxing Club actually. It was in Navan. But I was like, I'm going to gym tonight. I was like, I'm gonna get sick for you, just to prove that I'm the only one that'll get you out of this position that you're in. I was like, I will flip this. I will help you in this position. Trust me when I tell you. I will flip this situation that you're in right now. I'll buy you a kitchen. I'll do this, that, and the other. And we actually cried. We were both standing. This is how emotional it was. This is the first time I seen her and seen where she was living when I came back from Australia. And I was so fucking emotional. We ended up crying and all. Even today, this is still one of the biggest goals that I've accomplished in my life. Buying my own house and all that doesn't mean half as much as what this meant to me when I did accomplish this. But I told her, listen, I'm going to change the circumstances you're in. I went to the gym that night. She came to the gym with me. I vomited me ring up like 3 times. Now pushed myself to the limits. But like you were saying earlier, if I had done that myself, I probably wouldn't have got sick. Because I was doing it for my little sister, I pushed myself harder. I worked harder for my little sister. So you do always work harder for other people.
100%.
I spoke it out, told her what I was going to do. And then I'm not messing. I was training in there for about 2 weeks. Went to Pascal's gym then about a week after that. And I was training in Pascal's gym about 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call. Hey, we got Declan Garrity for you if you want it, blah, 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 blah. I was like, fuck it, I'm in now. Not worse. It's now like, if I lose, I lose. So what? Like, I'm only 2 fights in. Like, it's not like damaging record and all, because like I'm nothing now anyway. You know what I mean? It's on Sky Sports. Let's just do it. So I took the opportunity, took the risk, be him. Obviously couldn't buy a bleeding kitchen out of the money. I earned like $2,000 or something for that fight, you know, something shit. And then 3 weeks later, I got the prize fighter. Boom, one prize fighter. I come home, I was like, yeah, look what I'm fucking. And I didn't realise, but I kept saying I was going to do this for my sister. When I went to the prize fighter, there was no, like, I broke me wrist. No, didn't break my wrist. I tore ligaments in my baby knuckle. That's what it was. In the deco fight. So it was only 3 weeks before the prize fighter. So I went into prize fighter with a bleed tore ligament in my knuckle and all. My hand was killing me, even warming up. The first tipping this pads, I was like, oh, Pascal, I can't hit them. My hand's bleeding, killing me. Like, and he's like, are you all right to do this? Like, you fucking for real? Like, what? You're coming at the fight, man. You have 3 fights. Like, I was like, I know. I was like, I'll be all right in the fights. Don't worry about the fights. Like, I'll be grand. Once the adrenaline goes, like, I'll be sweet. But, like, that was 14-1 underdog. I fucking won prize fighter. And I went back, and I think I don't know what I pumped into. I pumped. It was like the sums of like $20,000 or something like that into the sister's gap, and I got her gap looking the bollocks. You know what I mean? It looks great now. So that was one of the biggest accomplishments in my career and my life. So I was able to accomplish something that I said I was going to do. I've done it for my little sister. Now she's living in a better house. So that's one of the proudest moments in my career.
And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's kind of not necessarily what we give, what we get, it's what we give. Kind of life starts with giving. You know what I mean? This is what it's all about. And until kind of one day again, the way the world works, it seems from my experiences, until you give, you won't receive. Everyone wants to receive first. They forget you got to give first before you can get it back.
See, that's why that fella gave you that 10 grand, mate. Because you're on it. You know your shit.
Yeah.
You know your law of attraction. You've been on obviously a while.
Yeah.
But for sure, 100%, you're speaking facts right there, my man. And I love it because a lot of people, they're only starting to wake up. And it's a good thing. And I think while we're all in this lockdown, now is the time to actually start to wake up. Get onto the law of attraction. Anyone that's watching this interview, just fucking Google law of attraction and start watching videos. And whether you believe it or not, when I start hearing loads of the stuff we were saying, I was like, that's bullshit. That can't be true. You know what I mean? I was like, but then when I started applying it into practice, and I was like, it just started coming off, and things are pulling, like, every single thing I said I was going to do in my career has happened since I've been on the law of attraction. Every single thing. Not one thing. Other than winning a world title, and my career's not finished. Like, that's going to happen sooner or later. So I'm not even worried about. You know what I mean? That's only a matter of time. But yeah, like, that law of attraction is so powerful, man. And I think while we're all inside working on yourself, working on your mind, this is the most powerful thing in the world. Working your mind while you can't really be working or doing anything else outside, you know?
Yeah, and one thing I wrote down there when you were talking about that was this kind of concept of the reticular activation system. It's kind of one of the reasons, because a lot of people can think that the law of attraction is kind of all a little bit hippie and a little bit woohoo and all this kind of stuff, and there's no real science behind it. But one of the key core reasons that I believe it works is this thing called the reticular activation system. And it's basically, I think it was Tony Robbins I heard talk about it before. And it's this kind of thing, once you kind of start talking about something, you start to then see it everywhere. It's like same thing with me and the missus, she bought a car there before this whole thing kicked off. And then we see the same car everywhere now, where you wouldn't have seen it before. But once you're thinking about it, now your mind is looking for the opportunities. It's looking for things that it can link to your dreams and goals and things that you're talking about and the things that you're telling yourself about. So now you actually see the opportunities. Not necessarily that now all of a sudden there's more opportunities, just that now you're tuned into them.
Yeah, you're tuned into them. You're on that frequency. Like, you're kind of tuned in is a perfect way of putting it. Because like that, we named our daughter Fia, and there wasn't a fucking Fia in the country. You know what I mean? Like, I got Fia from Australia. There was a hippie that we lived with. Actually, when I lived in that shed that time, your mum was a hippie. We were living with the woman, but she always had other hippies over, like, and there was fucking about 15 people at a time in the gap, always, like, you know. So there was one of the hippies was there, and he had a kid with an Irish woman and a little girl as well, and her name was Fia. And I was like, no way, mate, fucking, that's an Irish name. Like, where the fuck did you get that from? And he was like, mother's Irish, blah, 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 blah. And he told me the meaning of the name and stuff, and I was like, that's beautiful, mate. If we ever have a kid, my first kid is going to be called Fia. And since we called her Fia, man, fuck, they're popping up left, right, and center. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, when we first said we were going to call her, we heard it in Australia, never heard it in Ireland. And then I didn't hear it since. And now since she's, like, the past 3 years, man, I must know at least 12 kids called Fia now. It's bleeding madness.
No, and no joke. Me and the miss were having chats there the other day about kind of, you know, if we ever had kids, what kind of would you call them girls? Literally, top one was Fia. No joke.
There you go. You know what I mean? It's just catching on. But that's like that with the law of attraction. It's like I'm the same. Like, I've noticed certain things that I was thinking about, then all of a sudden pops up and you see it. And it's almost like similar. Like, when you're thinking about things, all of a sudden it pops up on your phone. It doesn't really pop up on your phone, more or less you've just noticed that it's on your phone. It's probably been there. And the probably only reason you were thinking about it in the first place is because it was on your phone fucking yesterday. You know what I mean? Or the day before. It's programming you to be thinking it. You know what I mean? So that's what all these, like if you look into it, like TV program, all these are fucking programming you. That's exactly what it is. I don't even watch TV anymore, mate. Yeah. Very, very rarely watch telly anymore. Unless it's watching the law of attraction videos. I watch a lot of YouTube, you know. I'm watching
YouTube's where it's at. I think I fucking love YouTube. That's why I kind of got into the podcast. It was kind of something I was like, I've taken so much from YouTube. I've got so much value from it. I just would love to kind of give back. And I obviously I'd love to kind of start getting into the fighters. So basically what we've done with this was we're trying to kind of kick the podcast off kind of over the next couple of weeks and months. And you're the first people I had on the kind of the list. We've got a list. It's our Dream 100 list. Who are the people that we want to get on? So I fucking text Tyson Fury and everybody, you know, and getting, you know, working my way through the list, and you never know.
Did you get a reply off Tyson?
Huh?
Did you get a reply off him?
No, I didn't. No, but I'll hit him again. I'll keep hunting him.
I was talking to him yesterday. Do you want me to ask him for it?
If you get him on this podcast, man, I would owe you a big one. No joke.
There you go. Law of attraction.
He's another one doing big thing. I'm helping out a lot of people as well. Kind of through his journey, through his message. You know, so it would be a privilege. You know.
Yeah. I'll text Tyson now when I got the phone with you. And
I appreciate that.
I'll send you his reply anyway. I'll screenshot and send you. Whether he does or whether he doesn't is another thing. You know what I mean? But listen, if you don't dash, you don't get, and you've just fucking, like what we were speaking about, law of attraction. You need to speak it into existence, and then it just happens. So you didn't know anyone who knew Tyson Fury until fucking right now. Yeah. And I know. I was speaking to him, not speaking to him on a regular, but I often drop my message, and he often drops me a message. You know what I mean? Lovely fella. So who else have you got on your podcast? I'm gonna be able to fucking help you, because giving back is a great thing.
All the fighters. Listen, I want to get in. They want to start, because again, I love boxing. It's somebody, and obviously, kind of our brand, we're Fighting Fit. We kind of want to lean more into kind of channel fight, because I feel like we're all on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? Kind of people in the combat sports, mixed martial arts, Thai box, MMA. Same kind of people. You know, kind of people we really get on, people we vibe with, and people we'd love to just help and inspire and kind of help them kind of kick it on and achieve their goals. You know.
Well, another good friend of mine who's mad into the law of attraction and all this, Charlie Edwards, he'll go on for you, no problem. I always speak to Charlie. Speak to him.
Charlie, was he English champion or something there, is he?
WBC champion.
WBC, is he? Wow.
WBC, yeah. But he just, so he's gone up a different way. Your man was on steroids as well before. The fucker, wasn't he? And Charlie was like, I'm making weight wrong and all. He's like blaming it on him making weight wrong. So your man was good, like. But it turned in a couple of weeks later, your man was on the fucking juice, wasn't he? But your man got the squad fight, so we never lost the belt. Your man got the squad fight because he hit him when he was on the ground, because Charlie went down or something, and he hit him with a kidney shot while he was on the ground. Like, he was on the ground on his 2 knees, and the man still gave him a bleeding body shot, the prick. Yeah, he's mad into the law of attraction as well. And the same thing, like, since he's been on the law of attraction, bomb, shit's just fell into place. And he's accomplished his goal. He's got his fucking world title, you know? He's WBC, that doesn't get much better than that.
Success leaves clues, as we said. So listen, so I'll kind of let you go back to your day. I'm sure kind of the sun is shining out there. I'm sure kind of the family are waiting on you to maybe jump back into that pool.
Yeah, I did actually came up from the pool to do this interview, and I'm going to go back down now. I was like, Dave, please, I promise you I'll go back down. I promise you. Like, no, I don't want to go to the house. Go mad.
So listen, before we go, kind of what would you want to kind of leave any of your fans, any kind of new fans, people who be listening to you, kind of what can they expect to see from yourself in the short-term future?
Not really. You're just going to see me progressing as usual. You know what I mean? Every single fight you see, I'm getting better and better each and every time. So you're just going to see a better me perform every single time. And I'm hoping to maybe get a world title. If this hadn't happened, I probably was hoping to get a world title by the end of the year. But now we're probably going to be looking at next year. But either or, doesn't matter. I'm going to be fucking world champion soon enough. So stay tuned. If you don't already know or follow me at Jono_KK_Carroll on Instagram. And just get on it, you know what I mean? Like, get onto that law of attraction shit. If you have any bleeding, like, one thing what I will say as well is people that are suffering from anxiety or any of that Wim Hof breathing technique, that really sorts out anxiety big time. Like, unbelievably big time. Because you know yourself, before a fight, especially a professional fight, you're fucking so many people, there's so much on the line almost that sometimes you can't sleep the night before the fight. And I do that breathing technique, and I swear to God, I fall asleep like a baby. What it does is, it's just, you don't think about it, and you just go into a complete different wavelength, mate. I swear to God, it's a beautiful thing, you know. So just go on to Wim Hof breathing, go on to the law of attraction, and start following me.
Yeah, big time. Listen, John, genuinely, thank you so very much for kind of jumping on with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I'll put all your links in the description below, kind of, so feel free, kind of have a look down there. You'll find all his links, his Instagram. I know you got your own YouTube thing going now as well. I'll link that there and too. Yeah, but other than that, John, listen, have a great day, and fingers crossed, we'll see you in the not too distant future with that world title over your shoulder. 100%.
It's inevitable, mate. It's gonna happen sooner or later. Come here. What I was gonna say, take me a picture of your goals and all the boxers and whoever you want to get on your fucking podcast. And send them out to me, and I'll send them a message for you. You'd be surprised, man, the people that got back that blue tick. It's fucking crazy.
No way, man. Definitely, yeah. Appreciate Jono. Listen, you're an absolute legend. Can't thank you enough, man. Have a great day.
Pleasure. No problem. God bless, brother. Good to chat to you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, my man. God bless.